Today, our focus will be on the Nigeria's blue economy and how, Nigeria can properly harness the vast potentials that are inherent in the sector. And just recently, we did hear from the Maritime Security Unit of the Deep Blue project, where they came out to, say that they would solve the challenges stopping the country from harnessing the $7 trillion inherent in the nation's maritime and blue economy. We did ask the social media users and followers on social media, of course, their thoughts on this development. And we put out a social media poll asking Nigerians what your thoughts are, especially on how Nigeria as a country can harness the potentials that are inherent in the deep economy sector of the country. And the question we did ask was, share your thoughts. The Nigerian government is aiming to tap into the $7 trillion potentials of the blue economy, that is oceans, seas, and water bodies. What's your take on these? And we did get quite a number of responses, but let's take a look at some of the responses that we did receive from netizens on social media. Sunshine Sport here is saying, all these potentialities for economy are only written on paper, nothing to see on the ground. Only God knows where this country is headed to. Well, we remain optimistic and hope that we indeed start to see changes. But away from Sunshine's comments now, Yazid Yusuf is saying, the blue economy is underwhelmingly tapped. It has the potential of propelling the economy to great height, especially in such tense climate. And people will benefit directly as much employment will be created. Thank you, Yusuf, for sending in your comment. Away from that now, Ibrahim is saying, developed and developing countries have benefited immensely from such initiatives, and we have the wherewithal, but the will is our major constraint. Well, good to see that we're starting to see steps being taken in the direction of developing the Nigeria's blue economy, and we do hope, to start to see changes in that sector. Abbas Salisu here is saying it's very possible. However, it depends on the dedication and plans available by the government. Indeed, we can harness from our ocean resources if we can sustainably have well-designed marine spatial planning. Thank you, everyone, for sending in your comments. But keep the conversation going on social media. Let us hear your thought on, how Nigeria can indeed, grow its blue economy. I'm joined now by my guest, who is a marine and shipping expert. He is a blue economy professional, Alhaji Suleiman Adama. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program today.
Thank you very much for having me.
And let's hear from you now. Where would you say Nigeria is in terms of harnessing the vast potentials that are inherent, in the blue economy? We did hear from a representative of the federal government last week talking about over $7 trillion that can be tapped, if the right actions are taken. But let's hear from you. Where are we as a nation from your own point of view?
Thank you very much for having me on this program. I want to start by congratulating the president for deeming it fit to create a ministry of the marine and the blue economy. So we are very happy about that. But as it is now, we have the ministry, but as for the actual implementation of the blue economy, I think we have not started, and it will be nice that as soon as possible we should start implementing the actual blue economy for the benefit of this country. Yeah. Well,
from all you've said, there hasn't been so much done yet, especially under the Ministry of Blue Economy and Marine Resources. But what would you say are the low-hanging fruits that you would recommend that the ministry does tackle? I mean, it's been up to about a year now since we saw the establishment of that ministry. So what would the low-hanging fruit issues that you would recommend, be that the ministry tackles as soon as possible?
having a blue economy, as a maritime nation, having a blue economy is not just a wishful thinking. The government must be very proactive to get the blue economy working in this country. Going through the website of the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, you will find that they are supposed to have published the national policy on marine and the blue economy at the end of June. That policy is supposed to define the legal and the political framework for setting up the blue economy. But I was very eager, as at yesterday being Monday, Friday, to see that policy document from the ministry, which I am yet to see. Maybe this week, maybe next week, we'll be able to see that, because it is when we have this policy document that we can now say, okay, this is how we are going to go about implementing the blue economy in this country. So, you know, government is more or less the driver of most things in this country. So the government has to set the ball rolling for the other stakeholders to key in. So we as professionals, we are waiting for that policy document that will give us the direction for implementing the blue economy. So that's what I would say for now on that.
Well said there. But let us go on a short break. When we return, the conversation continues, and we shall also be delving into how we can boost Nigeria's blue economy through proper waste management. And my guest, who is Alhaji Suleiman Adama, is still on standby, so do stay. And you are still watching Business Daily, coming to you live on Trust TV. And just before the break, we started a conversation on how to grow Nigeria's blue economy and where Nigeria really is in terms of policy direction and, you know, government policies, basically. And I still have my guest with me, who is a marine and shipping expert. He is also a blue economy professional, Alhaji Suleiman Adama. Thank you once again for coming on Business Daily.
Thank you very much.
I would like for us to start the conversation with, you know, the challenge that Nigeria currently has, which is quite obvious, I should say, you know, from my own point of view, and that is the poor waste management, you know, area. And we do understand that this is a persistent issue and a challenge to the blue economy in Nigeria. But I would like for you to tell us or to link the nexus between poor waste management and the blue economy within the country.
Yeah. Thank you very much again. Waste management, it's a very big problem, not only in Nigeria, but across the world. You know, and for us in the maritime sector, the issue we have with waste is that it's not just a human activity where we throw plastics and other waste into the environment. At the end of the day, these plastics and other waste find their way through the drainages to the rivers, to lakes, eventually ending up in the oceans. That is where the problem is. And for us, that affects marine creatures. That also affects shipping, because some of this waste can get into propeller shafts of vessels. They can cause damages. So for us, waste is not just something that you throw away here in Abuja, for example, and you say that is the end of it. It can move, it can go into the oceans and affect the marine ecosystem, and that is a big challenge, especially for the blue economy. You know, the blue economy is not just about activities, it's about also preserving the marine environment. So that is a major concern to us.
But what role can, you know, as private individuals or the private sector and communities play in preserving the marine environment through proper waste management. I do understand that. I believe it was sometime last week where we saw the discontinuation of using plastics across federal ministries, department agencies.
Yes.
And I believe some states have also enacted that, like for instance, Lagos State. So what role can private individuals or private sector and communities play towards ensuring that this blue economy that we have started looking towards, that we can fully tap and enjoy the benefits of that sector?
Yes, what I would say to that is this. For waste management proper, we need government to encourage the circular economy.
So the government must be involved.
Yes, they must show the way. They must give the enabling environment. They must give the support. For example, as the General Secretary of the Waste Pickers Association of Nigeria, we have been trying to get government to give us the support through allocation of land that we can call like a hub, where waste pickers, aggregators, collectors can bring all the waste collected from the landfills, and then recyclers can now recycle most of this waste into productive materials. So that will reduce the amount of waste that leaves the landfills to our oceans and rivers. You see, so that is very, very key. That's the private sector is ready to do this because we are working with them. So when you talk about private sector now, they can come in and drive the circular economy, which will now help to reduce the amount of waste in the landfills and the oceans. So just to answer your question.
But so far, what sort of collaborations have you had? Now I'm talking about the association, that is the Waste Pickers Association. Has there been collaborations in the past with the government, to ensure proper waste management? And what results did you gain from those collaborations?
What I would say is we are getting a lot of cooperation as Waste Pickers Association. They are listening to us, we are conversing with them, we are deliberating with them, but we are yet to get there. We are working very, very assiduously with all the stakeholders, starting from the Federal Ministry of Environment to NESRIA, to AMAC, and all other stakeholders. We are seriously working with them. So very soon, we hope to start getting results.
Let's talk to issues around recycling.
Yeah.
We understand that in the Western countries, it's not uncommon to find garbage areas where you have specific garbage cans for specific waste. That is talking about recycling. But let's bring it now to Nigeria. Where would you say Nigeria is currently when it comes to the recycling rates?
Well, we'll give you a figure like we are not doing more than 10% recycling.
That is poor.
Very, very poor, below par. And if you see the statistics, if you go through the statistics of waste in Nigeria, you'll find that we have about 32 million tons. We generate about 32 million tons of waste. That is putting it conservatively.
On a daily basis?
On a yearly basis, annually.
On a yearly basis.
Yeah, so about 32 billion tons, out of which only 30% is actually collected. And only 10% of this collected is actually recycled. So that leaves about 70% of our waste out there. And they end up in our drainages, our rivers, lakes, and eventually our oceans. Okay? So we are doing very badly in terms of recycling rate.
So is this the case of lack of education to the Nigerian populace and lack of awareness? Or what would you say is the major contributor to the poor, or should I say the poor rate in the area of recycling in Nigeria?
From our own experience so far, it's that government is not doing enough in terms of waste management. And if you go through the constitution of this country, the local governments, they have the power to manage waste constitutionally. However, what you find in the country today is most local governments are more or less, they are powerless in terms of carrying out their responsibilities. It's very obvious. They don't have monies. State governors are in charge of almost everything. So that alone affects proper waste management in this country. So if, like they are proposing, we are able to have local government autonomy, definitely there will be an improvement in waste collection activities in this country.
But I will like for us to talk on or touch on the government policies. You have spoken for the local government autonomy, but looking at the initiatives from government now and policy direction you've seen so far, has there been any that is pointing towards or gravitating towards the proper waste management area? And if there is, what legislation is that?
I wouldn't say there's any new development in terms of policy, but what we know we have is what exists, what obtains right now. So if we will advocate for let the local governments be given their constitutional powers to manage waste, we in the private sector and the civil society organizations, we are ready to partner with government, because the economy is about $10 billion, is a $10 billion economy in Nigeria annually. A lot of companies, especially in Lagos, they are doing a lot. Lagos state government, they have understood this issue of waste economy, circular economy, and they are doing a lot. And we were in Lagos about 3 weeks ago. We went round, I had a one-on-one with them. We saw the kind of activities going on in Lagos. If states of Nigeria can emulate what is happening in Lagos, I think we will go far in terms of achieving our waste management objectives.
You have mentioned, the potentials, talking about $10 billion, huge amounts, and that could go a long way, at least for the Nigerian economy. But let's talk to issues around attracting foreign direct investment in the sector. So far, would you say that there has been, or has the Nigerian marine sector been attractive enough for foreign direct investment to troop in? And if that has there been any result, in the area? You talked about what Lagos is doing. But beyond Lagos, has there been, has the sector been attractive to foreign investors?
Well, to be very, very honest with you, the blue economy sector, or is it the marine sector you are talking about, it's there. It's very attractive. Foreigners are there. They are operating. I will tell you that, for example, beautiful act, the Cabotage Act that was enacted during the Obasanjo presidency, which is supposed, that act is supposed to favor Nigerians. But today, many years after, the reverse is the case. Foreigners have taken over everything along all our waterways to the disadvantage of Nigerians. Look at the oil and gas. It's the same thing. Look at the service, offshore services. It's all about foreigners. So, you see, when you say something to attract them, no, they are already here. They are here. Instead of these opportunities going to Nigerians, foreigners have taken over. And we keep shouting and crying, but nothing much is coming out of government.
Is this a case of lack of interest by Nigerians, or just lack of opportunity?
There's a lack of capacity. Lack of capacity? Yes, there's a lack of capacity. Because, I mean, you know how much it is to buy, for example, a tugboat or just a small coastal ship. They cost millions of naira and dollars. Nigerians don't have it. The banks will not give you loan. But these Asians will come, Indians, Lebanese, they will come and go into our own banks and get the financial support, get the loans, get the facility, and go into these businesses. So many handicaps for the Nigerian operators, you know.
At the start of this conversation, you talked about the blue economy policy document that you had, gone on the website and, checked for, but you didn't see anything on. But I'd like for us to touch on that now. We do expect for that to be released with the nearest future, I believe. So what can you say should be done differently so Nigerians can, have, the capacity building and infrastructure development for Nigerians to partake actively in the blue economy sector? What would you recommend should be a part of that policy document?
As at this point in time, I've expected the Honorable Minister to have called a national summit on the marine and the blue economy. Bring in all the stakeholders. Let's brainstorm. Let's draw up let's have a roadmap in the implementation of this blue economy. Because this is a sector, the blue economy sector is enough to take care of all the problems, financial problems that this country is presently grappling with. We don't need to take any loan from any country if we can sincerely implement blue economy principles. Okay? So that's what I would say on that.
When you say blue economy principles, what exactly are you referring to?
Well, there are certain things that you must do to be able to harness the potentials of the blue economy. So a summit or conference of what I'm calling for will spell out, we will tell them A, B, C, D, how to put the platform in place for operators to benefit. Okay? So I will leave it that for now.
Okay, we'll leave that at that then. But let us talk to, innovative solutions and technology. I mean, it's no longer news that at this point, technology has had a way of, just getting involved in particularly every sector, and the blue economy sector is not left out. But are there any innovative, waste management solutions and technologies that have been utilized or should be considered by Nigeria? Because $10 billion, like you said, if the right things are done, then we don't need to be taking loans from foreign countries. So let's talk to innovative solutions and technologies that should be implemented if they haven't been considered yet.
That's to say for the waste management?
Indeed.
Okay. So fine. There are, for example, what we do now is mostly manual in terms of waste collection and everything. We have technologies that are able to differentiate and sort all type of waste. It's just a small device, which when you point it at a heap, it will tell you the different type of waste that you have there. So, but we don't, like I said earlier, we don't have the capacity. That device, one of it is costing $8 million. So, I mean, where are we going to get that kind of money? Who is going to give us? But we're talking to foreign donor agencies to see if they can come in and assist us. But a lot of capacity, we don't have capacity. Yes.
But I will also like to touch on the marine renewable energy. I mean, we are, as a country, trying to meet the country's net zero target by 2060, moving away from fossil fuels towards renewable energy. And where would you say Nigeria is, and what are the most promising sources of marine renewable energy for our country, Nigeria?
See, this policy document is very, very key. we need to have this policy document from the Ministry of the Marine and Blue Economy.
You keep emphasizing on that policy document.
That's what we are waiting for.
But do you know whether or not talks have begun, or at what point is this policy document?
From the feelers we are getting, they are on it. The civil service language, they are on it. It will soon be out. So, but since you are no longer an insider, there is no way you can actually get the truth. But we are hopeful.
So it's currently with the National Assembly?
We don't know where it is, but it's a document that is supposed to come out of the Ministry of the Marine and Blue Economy, which we are yet to see. So until we see that policy document, honestly, talking about the blue economy in Nigeria is just maybe an academic exercise, because it would just be, okay, let's say it like this, how it's supposed to be. But for Nigeria, I think I will appeal to our colleagues out there just to be patient and then talk to government to please bring out the policy. We call it the National Policy on Marine and Blue Economy, which is supposed to come out June 2024. We are in July. Please bring out that policy document.
Well, good thing we're having these conversations, and it's hopefully the right people are listening. But before we go, because you've said over and over again that we cannot, have very intense conversations until at least that document is released. Let's hear from you now. As a key player or stakeholder in this sector, what are the challenges you are facing? You've talked to issues around, lack of proper, policy document, also lack of innovation, and also access to finance. What are the other challenges are you facing as a stakeholder in the sector?
Well, because the sector is so big, it's so vast, I think there is need for training and capacity development especially for our younger ones, especially at the tertiary level. In fact, even from secondary schools, they should start enlightenment education on the blue economy and the potentials that it holds for us. It's not just about the economic activities of the blue economy. We're also talking about the conservation and preservation of the marine ecosystem. Because you can look at oil pollution, they go into our waters, affects our life under the sea. A lot of things are happening. You see fishes belly up because of pollution here and there, even from ships, smoke, discharges and all of that into the ocean. So we really need a lot of enlightenment, a lot of capacity. Okay, tell me now, when we start the blue economy, there is fishing, there is tourism, there is marine trade. At the end of the day, we start this thing, we don't have the capacity, we don't have the manpower to go in there. So I believe that from last year, there should have been a very concerted effort on the part of government to introduce blue economy studies across our educational system, so that as we start implementing the blue economy, we will be having ready-made Nigerians to go in there and take the benefits. Well
said. But before we go in 1 minute, I will like for you to put a message out there. Someone watching and wondering, what role can I play as a Nigerian towards conserving our waterways? What would that message be?
The message will be, we have to love what God has given to us. We have to be very mindful how we relate with the oceans, with the environment. Let us be careful what we do, what we throw out there. We can, like myself, yourself, you can talk to friends, family, to do things properly. You understand? So, and a lot of enlightenment. You need a lot of enlightenment through media like yours and others.
Well said. I have been speaking with Alhaji Suleiman Adama, who is a marine and shipping expert. He is also a blue economy professional. He has spoken extensively to how Nigeria can fully harness the potentials that are inherent in the sector through proper wage management, education, advocacy, and of course, the right policy document and direction. Thank you again for sharing with us today on Business Daily.
Thank you very much for having me.
This is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of Business Daily. But join the conversation on social media and let us hear from you. My name is Chiamaka Enendu. Thank you for watching and bye for now.